the operations for a young quarterback. When you see quarterbacks running up, clapping, and then the time's ticking down, and you got to delay a game, or you got to take a timeout, or you end up the game with one timeout left or no timeouts left because the operations weren't good. And he looks a little confused out there. He looks like a deer in headlights. I never saw that. I didn't see it against Baltimore when he was getting hit of the whole second half. So I think the poise, the confidence by playing in a lot of games in college.
The Cleveland Browns drama just hit a whole new level. GM Andrew Berry is pushing hard for rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders to get a shot, even though head coach Kevin Stefanski and offensive coordinator Tommy Rees aren't sold on him. Sanders made his debut in Week 11 against the Ravens and struggled, going 4 for 16 with 47 yards and a pick. And Stephen A. Smith says that wasn't just a bad game, it exposed a divide inside the organization. But the wildest part, while Sanders was playing in his first NFL action, his Cleveland home was burglarized. Police say around $200,000 worth of property was stolen by 3 masked suspects. And now Stefanski says Sanders could start next Sunday against the Raiders if Dylan Gabriel stays in concussion protocol. This storyline is getting crazier by the minute.
Mel Kiper Jr. has just put the entire National Football League on high alert, issuing a major warning about Shedeur Sanders' upcoming second start against the San Francisco 49ers, and what he revealed is nothing short of explosive. We're talking about the legendary draft analyst, the guy who's been in Shedeur's corner since before the draft, going on the record with a statement that should send shivers down the spines of every team that passed on him. Kiper declared, "Everything I see with him, he looked like an NFL starting quarterback." Let that sink in. This isn't some hot take artist talking. This is Mel Kiper, a man who does not hand out that kind of praise to rookies lightly. But here's where the plot thickens and things get even more fascinating. Kiper then revealed he's absolutely refusing to do a victory lap after Shedeur's incredible first win, because he vividly remembers the cautionary tale of Will Levis, a quarterback who had arguably the greatest rookie QB debut in history, only to completely fall apart afterward. So you might think Kiper is just being cautious, right? Wrong. He immediately follows that up by dropping this absolute bombshell. "I always consider myself a defense attorney for a lot of young players who are unfairly criticized." With that one line, he's making it crystal clear to everyone listening that Shedeur Sanders is one of those players he's defending. With the formidable 49ers rolling into Cleveland this Sunday, Mel Kiper has officially put the league on notice. Shedeur is about to demonstrate to the entire world what happens when you give an elite-level quarterback the proper preparation he deserves, instead of unforgivably burying him on the bench for half a year.
Plays that he made down the field. We talk about accuracy with him. That was the thing with him. He's so accurate. He can be a surgeon. If you just give him a fortress in front of him, give him some time, he can be a surgeon. And some of the throws he made, and he only had the one sack where he almost got it back to the line of scrimmage. It wasn't an 8, 9, 10-yard loss. It was, 2 yards, and he almost got it back to the line of scrimmage. He got the ball out. He showed touch. When he had to let it rip, he did. He had the one bad throw when the linebacker sunk.
The keys is his. I think he is the future quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Now, yesterday after the game, Kevin Stefanski didn't want to give Shedeur Sanders his praise. He tried to undermine a lot of things that Shedeur Sanders did offensively and gave all the credit to the center, the blocking schemes, and the lights-out defense, and really didn't acknowledge the quarterback play of Shedeur being that first rookie on a historical performance to win in over 30-some years as a rookie starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns organization. Now, Kevin Stefanski just wrapped up his Zoom call for Monday, and they was asking him questions, and now he wants to come out to say that Shedeur Sanders is going to be the starting quarterback. I feel that Kevin Stefanski is feeling that pressure.
Look, I need you to grasp the sheer gravity of this situation right now. When Mel Kiper Jr., the man who has been the gold standard for evaluating NFL prospects for more than 4 decades, comes out and proclaims that a 5th-round rookie looked like an NFL starting quarterback in his very first game, that isn't just high praise. No, that's a complete and total validation of everything we've been shouting from the rooftops about how the Cleveland Browns fundamentally mishandled Shedeur Sanders from the moment he walked in the door. Let me break down precisely what Kiper said, because every single word is packed with meaning. When he was asked for his reaction to Shedeur's debut against the Raiders, Kiper didn't start with flashy plays. He started with the bedrock of football fundamentals, he said. "It's really very simple, right? It's BTC, blocking, tackling, and concentration. That's what I say, blocking, tackling, and concentration." Now you're probably wondering, what in the world does that have to do with Shedeur? The answer is everything. Kiper's point is that, at its core, football is a simple game, and Shedeur Sanders executed the simple, critical things perfectly in his first start. Something a shocking number of highly touted rookie quarterbacks completely fail to do. Kiper continued, and to me, when you think about this game, they couldn't block him. You can't beat him if you can't block him. He's initially talking about the Browns' dominant defense racking up an insane 10 sacks, but then he masterfully pivots to what truly matters for Shedeur's evaluation. But in terms of Shedeur, the operations for a young quarterback, when you see quarterbacks running up, clapping, and then the time's ticking down, and you gotta delay a game, or you gotta take a timeout, he looks a little confused out there. He looks like a deer in headlights. I never saw that. Did you hear what the legend just said? He never saw Shedeur look confused. He never saw him look like a deer in the headlights. This is coming from a man who has dissected hundreds upon hundreds of rookie quarterback debuts. He knows exactly what panic looks like. He knows what being unprepared looks like. And he is telling you, point blank, that Shedeur showed absolutely none of those telltale signs of being overwhelmed. But hold on, because he wasn't done. Kiper then added, I didn't see it against Baltimore when he was getting hit the whole second half.
Kiper and Kipers representing Levis and Levis of the last episode. People, of course, recall that. The two things that really were the most important for me in the positive category for Shedeur, one was the throw that he made to Isaiah Bond, which was a 50-plus yard reception, was probably the best throw from any Cleveland Browns quarterback all season. I don't know that that's a play that Dylan Gabriel has.
Just stop and think about that statement for a second. Even in that Baltimore Ravens game, where Shedeur was unceremoniously thrown into the roaring fire with absolutely zero preparation, zero first-team practice reps, and a game plan that wasn't designed for him in any way, the most respected analyst in the game, Mel Kiper, still didn't see him look confused or overwhelmed. That, my friends, is the definition of mental toughness. That is what elite quarterback DNA looks like under a microscope. Then, Kiper delivered one of the most crucial lines of the entire interview, saying, so I think the poise, the confidence, by playing in a lot of games in college, both at Jackson State and at Colorado, has helped him. This is absolutely massive. Kiper is publicly acknowledging what so many so-called experts conveniently forget. Shedeur Sanders has been a starting quarterback, a leader, and a winner at the college level for years. He isn't some raw, unpolished prospect who needs to be coddled. He possesses a wealth of game experience. He has undeniable poise under pressure, and he carries a confidence that can only be forged in the crucible of meaningful football games. Now let's dive into what Kiper said about Shedeur's actual skill set, because this is where it gets truly exciting for Browns fans. He said, and certainly I think when you think about the plays that he made down the field, we talked about accuracy with him. That was the thing with him. He's so accurate, he can be a surgeon. If you just give him a fortress in front of him, give him some time, he can be a surgeon. He can be a surgeon. That is not hyperbole. That is not pre-draft hype. That is Mel Kiper Jr. watching Shedeur's professional NFL game tape and confirming what he believed all along. This kid possesses elite, pinpoint accuracy. We're talking about the kind of accuracy that simply cannot be coached. The kind of rare trait that separates true franchise quarterbacks from the forgettable journeyman. Kiper continued to praise the specifics, noting, and some of the throws he made, and he only had the one sack where he almost got it back to the line of scrimmage. It wasn't an 8, 9, 10-yard loss. It was what? 2 yards? And he almost got it back to the line of scrimmage. He got the ball out. He showed touch when he had to let it rip. He did. Do you understand what Kiper is describing right there? He's talking about professional-level pocket awareness, flawless ball placement, and masterful velocity control. These are the hallmarks of a seasoned veteran quarterback, and Shedeur displayed all of them in his very first start, with only a single week of preparation with the starting offense.
Oh, I think
remember
it was,
4 touchdown passes.
Wasn't it Marcus Mariota as well? Yeah.
No, again, and then you have just things happen to the organization and whatever. We won't get into that, but I never go into anything overconfident. Where it's a game, my high school Calvert Hall when we were winning championship, I didn't go in any of those games like, oh, we're going to win this game, or I go in nervous about every game and about every player I like. I will never. Josh Allen, same way, never going to ever do.
But then Mel Kiper had to address the elephant in the room, the one negative play on Shedeur's record, the interception. He calmly explained he had the one bad throw and the linebacker sunk in the hook zone and he picked it off. Okay, that happens. Baker had a bad pick against the Bills that turned that game a couple weeks ago. It all happens. This is precisely where Kiper's decades of experience as an analyst shines so brightly. He isn't trying to make excuses for the interception. He's placing it in its proper professional context. Even established veteran quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield throw costly picks. The real difference, the thing that defines a quarterback's career, is whether you learn from those mistakes or you let them shatter your confidence. And Kiper's message on this was crystal clear. Shedeur is going to learn. He's going to have uneven performances with some good, some bad, and some ugly moments. That's just the reality of being a rookie quarterback in this league, especially one who, as Kiper casually reminded everyone, never played with the ones. Right? Who never played with the ones. Think about the sheer insanity of that statement. A fifth-round pick, a player the Browns supposedly drafted to develop for the future, and they didn't give him a single meaningful repetition with the starting offense for 6 long months. It's organizational malpractice. But this is where Kiper delivers the final definitive knockout punch. He stated, "But I think for Shedeur, I feel good because everything I see with him, he looked like an NFL starting quarterback. And that's the most important thing you can say about a rookie in this league." Read that line again. He looked like an NFL starting quarterback right now in his first ever start with the bare minimum of preparation. Now the show's hosts tried to bait Kiper into doing a victory lap to gloat about being right about Shedeur from the very beginning. And this is where Mel showcased his profound wisdom and experience. He shot back, "I don't do victory laps, okay? I don't do victory laps after one game because I go back, hey, who had the best debut ever in the history of rookie quarterbacks? Will Levis did." This is a brilliant move by Kiper. He's acknowledging that one great game doesn't make a great career. Will Levis lit the world on fire with 4 touchdowns in his debut against the Falcons and looked like a future superstar, and then he completely fell apart. Kiper learned a valuable lesson from that experience.
They're going to learn from mistakes. In order to get better, you got to make mistakes. And you learn from those mistakes. And he'll keep making them. And he's going to have uneven performances. He'll have some good, bad, and ugly. That's just the nature of being a rookie quarterback in this league who never played with the ones, right? But I think for Shedeur, I feel good because everything I see with him, he looked like an NFL starting quarterback. And that's the most important thing you can say about a rookie in this league.
But
Then, Mel Kiper added something absolutely critical that reveals his true character. He said, "I never go into anything overconfident where it's a game. When my high school Calvert Hall, when we were winning championship, I didn't go in any of those games. Oh, we're gonna win this game. I go in nervous about every game and about every player I like." You hear that? Mel Kiper is nervous about Shedeur Sanders, not because he doubts his talent, but for the exact opposite reason. Because he believes in him so strongly and desperately, doesn't want to see him fail. That's the unmistakable mark of an analyst who genuinely cares about the careers and lives of these young athletes. And then Kiper delivered what might just be the most important sentence of the entire interview. "I always consider myself a defense attorney for a lot of young players who are unfairly criticized. You get all this craziness thrust upon these players and a lot of it's just complete BS." Boom. There it is. Mel Kiper Jr. just announced to the entire NFL media landscape that he is Shedeur Sanders' defense attorney. And let me tell you, when the single most respected draft analyst in the history of the sport is publicly defending you, that carries an immense amount of weight. Now, let's get into the specific plays that impressed everyone because this is where you can truly understand what Shedeur accomplished. The host brought up the throw he made to Isaiah Bond, a reception that went for over 50 yards and called it probably the best throw from any Cleveland Browns quarterback all season. Just process that for a moment. The single best throw from any Browns quarterback this entire season came from a rookie, making his first start with only 1 week of preparation. It didn't come from Dillon Gabriel, who was gifted all the first-team reps. It didn't come from the veteran Joe Flacco. It came from Shedeur Sanders. The host then continued, "I don't know that that's a play that Dillon Gabriel has in his bag. Eluding some pressure, driving the football down the field with accuracy, that was a great throw from Shedeur. Dillon Gabriel doesn't have that throw in his bag. Let that sink in." The guy who Kevin Stefanski gave every single opportunity to succeed, the guy who got all the reps from day one of training camp, the guy who went 1-5 as the starter, he is physically incapable of making the kinds of throws that Shedeur made in his very first game.
bottom line feelings about the Browns quarterback room now and going forward, I still fully expect them to be in the market for a quarterback at the very top of the 2026 NFL draft.
Yeah, and also one other last thing on this. The defense was playing great, and they didn't have to ask him to do that much. I mean, they didn't have to. Just don't turn it over. He had the one turnover that resulted in 3 points. That's it. But they're not going to score. They can't get anything. Once we got 14 points on the board, they're not getting the 14. So I think they knew that as well.
The host also...
The analysis didn't stop there. They also mentioned the sack numbers. In his first appearance against the Ravens, with absolutely zero prep, Shedeur took a couple of sacks and looked understandably uncomfortable. This is a critical point. Against the Raiders, after just 1 week of first-team reps, he only took a single sack, and it was a minimal 2-yard loss, precisely because he had the awareness to get the ball back near the line of scrimmage. That isn't just a statistic, that is tangible, measurable development. That is what happens when you actually coach and prepare a young quarterback instead of just burying him on the bench and hoping for the best. The host added that a key question coming into the NFL was whether Shedeur would step up into the pocket or backpedal under pressure. Well, Shedeur answered that question decisively. He consistently stepped up, showed elite pocket awareness, and made veteran plays when the pressure was on. Now the host did try to temper expectations, saying, "Let's be candid, it was the defense." The Browns had 10 sacks. Most of what Shedeur Sanders was asked to do was throw the football on easy completions. And you know what? That's a fair point. The Browns' defense was an unstoppable force. Shedeur wasn't asked to go out and win the game with his arm. But here's the crucial thing. He did exactly what a smart rookie quarterback is supposed to do in that situation. Kiper immediately jumped in to defend Shedeur perfectly, saying the defense played great, so they didn't have to ask him to do that much, just don't turn it over. He had one turnover that led to 3 points. That's it. That is the exact job description for a rookie QB with an elite defense. Don't lose the game. Shedeur checked that box, and he did so much more, making plays downfield that Dillon Gabriel never could. Kiper even brought up the Jerry Jeudy play, a perfect throw that Jeudy fumbled, costing the Browns more points and making Shedeur's stat line look less impressive than it should have been. Kiper's final conclusion was simple. He did what he needed to do, win the game, and he won his game. Something hasn't been happening. That last line is a direct shot at the Browns organization because rookie quarterbacks winning their debuts hasn't happened in Cleveland for 30 years, and Shedeur just shattered that curse. Then Kiper made his position for the future crystal clear. He said when he talks about young quarterbacks, he's not talking about Dillon Gabriel, he's talking about Shedeur, a player who looks like a successful NFL starting quarterback. Did you catch that? Not just a starter, but a successful one. Now let's look ahead to this Sunday, because the 49ers are coming, and this matchup is tantalizing. According to recent analysis, the 49ers secondary has been one of the most generous pass defenses in the entire league over the past month, allowing a whopping 2 opponents are completing over 70% of their passes against them. This is a perfect opportunity for Shedeur to build on his debut. The 49ers are banged up, they're traveling across the country for an early game, and Shedeur gets to play at home in front of a roaring Cleveland crowd. Analysts are predicting multiple touchdowns for him, and here's what nobody is talking about. He's now had 2 full weeks of first-team reps. If he looked like an NFL starter with 1 week of prep, what will he look like with 2? What will he look like against a secondary that's been getting torched? The Browns have nothing to lose. Kevin Stefanski has already named Shedeur the starter, even with Gabriel cleared from concussion protocol. That tells you everything. Stefanski saw it, Kiper saw it. And this Sunday, when Shedeur Sanders faces the 49ers, the entire NFL is about to see it too. The host tried one last time to get Kiper to pump the brakes, but the reality is, if Shedeur keeps winning, he might just force the Browns to completely rethink their entire 20. Mel Kiper doesn't do victory laps, but his conviction is undeniable. This kid looks like an NFL starting quarterback, and he's gonna be successful. And if Shedeur wins this game, if he becomes the first Browns rookie QB to win his first 2-star, everyone who doubted him will have to answer one simple question. How did a 5th-round pick, who you buried on the depth chart for 6 months, end up looking like the best quarterback on your entire roster?